I had a girl that I worked with her for a few months about a monster, that she was so afraid of the monster. But the breakthrough was when she was able to do the monster from clay. And she put the monster next to her. And the monster was very cute because we did it with clay. It took for a while that she
Oh,
was able to
wow.
do it. We did it with clay. And after a while, we painted. And she decided to paint it in green and yellow. And she became a friend with the monster.
But today is very special because it's something that I came across much later in my life, art therapy. And I really wish that when I was younger, when my kids were younger, I had come across it then, because I think it's an invaluable tool to get into your subconscious. I have today the lovely Michal Edree. She's lived and practiced in New York, London, Madrid, and
Yes.
Israel. And she did art therapy about 20 years ago from New York, from the Pratt Institute. Following that, she did her psychotherapy on the child-parent relationship at the Haifa University. She has incredible experience, and that's why I really regret not meeting someone like her earlier on in my life. So, Michal, welcome again. Tell us a little bit, Michal, about art therapy. How exactly does it work? And how does it provide a window into our subconscious?
So first of all, art therapy involves the use of creative techniques. It can be sculpturing, it can be a drawing, a painting, collage, any kind of technique, any kind of material that I am as a professional, as an art therapist, think that the clients need or the client might relate to. Because each person needs different material. And actually, in the process of art therapy, we have two perceptions. One said that just doing art is a healing process. You connect to yourself, you express yourself, you can see image. So this is one thing which is a healing process. The psychoanalytic art therapy or the dynamic art therapy, which this is what I'm doing in my clinic, is more of a creating a bridge between the inner world, or you can call it subconscious or whatever, to outside world, allowing the client to express themselves and tell their stories. Because when we are using art, it's a non-verbal thing. So it's easier for us to connect to our intuition, to our subconscious, and we never know what will come out. Sometimes people have so many defenses, so they can't speak about stuff like trauma or like abuse or whatever, or things that happened in the past they don't want to remember, and things come out. And I think it's a huge release when you see an image and you said, oh my God, this was inside me for so many years. Now I can talk about it. I can look at it. We can explore it. It's give it a meaning.
So now, once, say, you use art therapy to identify certain issues in people's lives, right? After that, what happens next?
Art therapy is like any other therapeutic process. There is the connection and the communication between the therapist and the client. When we use the art as a language, the art is like a space that we use as a language when the client can bring himself. Sometimes if I see some kind of issue, if I see some difficulties, I can ask, maybe we can do a family drawing today. So the client doesn't even realize that there might be something behind, that he put himself on the paper, and then we can look at it and we can talk about it. The most important part about art therapy, besides the creative and using art, is actually to give the symbols some meaning, to understand the way the client put it on the paper, and to look at it together to give its word, because words leave meaning. It's one thing to do art, but the second part is, and this is my professional. I know how to ask the question. I know how to lead the client, how to lead the patient to the right places. So it's a combination of art and myself as a container, as a therapist, as everything. Whatever the clients need, I'll be there for him. I can say, what's going on? Why you did this one in black when your whole picture is in yellow, for example? And you say, oh my God, I didn't notice. But this is an issue that I'm dealing for years, and it's black because it has a meaning for me. So then we are able to start and speak about it. So I'm looking at the picture and I just pick up whatever is unique for me. And you did it, or you or the client, whatever.
From your experience of having worked with people in different parts of the world, when and whom does this work best for?
I think that for adult, sometimes it's difficult. I think it's connect to very early stages. I heard many times people say, oh, I used to do art when I was a kid. I don't want to do it anymore, because it's might be some connection to early memories that they don't want to deal with. This is one option. Adult also are very criticized. I don't know how to do art. I don't know how to paint. And I'm telling you here now with all my heart, you don't need to know anything. The less you know, the better you are, because if you have no knowledge, you can feel much more freedom. So you don't need to do art before you come to art therapy session. And I think you even benefit more if you don't have any knowledge. With children, it's different, because art is a second language for children. The way children play, we never ask why children play. They play because they practice, because they want to have fun, because they want to understand things. The same with art. It's totally a language for children that they can express their inner world, and they don't even understand what they are doing. So when I'm working with children, usually they use art very freely. They love to try different material unless there's the issue with cleaning, with sometimes they have some tactile issues. They don't want to touch some stuff. So this is a different work. But for children, art is a language, and that's how we use it. So sometimes even with children, I can do my art. I mean, they're doing their art, I can do my art, and then we communicate through art. If words are too difficult for them. And then we start to give it some meaning and words and understanding.
So give us an example of when you worked with a child and you managed to have a breakthrough or some such thing.
I have a picture that I brought with me. There's no name, so no one can recognize the client. I totally keep my client privacy. And it was a girl. She is 6 years old. I'll call her Ronnie. And I worked with her for a while because she was a bit shy and she has some social problem. Usually when I'm working with children, and especially with young children, I add parents counseling, because the parents must be part of the process. When the child is young, the parents are very important in his life. So I combine and explain to the parents what's going on. So this girl, the mother wrote me a text and she told me, listen, I think there's issue. She's very stressed about Corona. She speaks about it all the time. I really don't know what's going on. So I told Ronnie, she came to the room, how are you? It was Zoom, sorry, it wasn't in my room. And said, Ronnie, would you like to draw Corona for me? What do you think about it? How you see it? So can you see the picture?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's a mom on top.
Yes, and there's a baby Corona in the bottom. And the mama is big, the baby is small, and she wrote invisible. So I asked her, she did it, and she was very happy. And then she said, you see, the Corona have a mother. She's also afraid. She's invisible, so she needs her mother. And I told her, maybe
so who was invisible? The child was invisible in this case.
She wrote invisible, and she said that the Corona afraid because she is invisible. You remember in the beginning, we didn't know how we can recognize the COVID, and there was so many rumors. And unfortunately, children are exposed to everything. Sometimes they hear from the TV. Sometimes the parents talk. They do not always notice what the child can hear. And I asked her, okay, I can see that the Corona needs a mother, but maybe you need your mother. And she said, no, my mother is so scared. I can't ask help for my mother because my mother is so scared of the Corona. She doesn't want me to go out. She doesn't want me to meet friends. She doesn't want me to touch stuff. So, and I don't know, I think I become invisible. So
wow.
There's a different
the mother
layer.
Has instilled her fear in the child in this case.
Totally. And then I realized that the mother has some health issue in the background, and she totally doesn't feel safe. and she projected to her child, and the child became very scared and stressed. And as soon as we were able to talk about it, and I was able to reflect and explain to the mother what the child going through, there was a breakthrough. She was able to maintain her reaction. She was able to speak with the child and to explain her that everything is okay. She taking care, the child needs to understand that someone is in control. And when she felt that the mother is not in control, she was so scared. She felt invisible.
Oh, I see.
And when I was able to speak with the mother and explain, listen, you need to take control here. You need to maintain what the child hear, not to say too much next to the children, give her some freedom, teach her some basic stuff. And it was amazing. It worked amazing. And I think with 6 years old, if I would start to ask questions, I never get
you won't get those answers.
Exactly. And understanding.
How would you, can you analyze a child's painting? Can you give people some pointers? People who have kids of different ages?
So I say a few things. First of all, when I'm doing therapy, I'm not analyzing. I'm asking questions, and it's like a game of question and answers.
Okay.
But parents at home, they're not therapists. They're not supposed to be the children therapists. They just want to understand the child better. As you remember, we said before, the picture is like a reflection of the inner world of the adult or of the child. Okay. So if we look at this picture as the inner world of our child, first of all, I think we'll understand something else. It doesn't have to look like reality. The child doesn't have to know how to paint or how to draw. And most important thing, the parents need to be a very natural and not critical. Because as soon as we critique our child picture or drawing, why you did this in this color? I never saw a blue dog. So what? That's how the child feel. What does it matter if it's close to reality or not? So what I'll tell you what is my my way. First of all, I'm looking at the picture and I try to understand what I feel. Because if I look at the picture and I said, it's look very sad to me, something going on, this is what I feel. For example, sad, happy, messy, anger, any kind of feeling that come up to your mind, usually it reflects what your child feel. If you will look at the picture and you understand what you feel, that means that you can understand what your child feel. And then you can start ask questions and to listen to the answer. If you ask, what's going on? I see that your drawing is that you use many, many colors and it's very messy. All over the place, you use all the paper. So your child might say, yes, I had a hard day today. I'm very angry now. Or I wanna just shout. It's like shouting. That's how I feel. So look what you see and see how you feel, and then you can ask your child. So this is the first thing. This is what I'm doing first. Okay. The second thing that I'm doing, I'm looking at the colors. What kind of colors? Because colors has meaning, and our child use different colors to express himself. But I want you to understand, sometimes children like certain color. It can be black, it can be red, it can be green. So they always use the same color. Yes. All the picture will be. But if suddenly they choose another color, this is a sign, something going on. Maybe they decide to explore the world and to look at other colors. Maybe something happened and they want to say something. So I know that color has meaning, but still you need to be careful and know what your child likes, because usually girls like pink. So if your daughter always color with pink and suddenly she pick up blue, so that means there's something going on. So then you can ask, what happened? You choose blue here. Why did you choose blue? You always, and she can say, I hate this girl. That's why I make her in blue, for example. And the third thing is the composition, how you put it on the paper. Because, for example, if your child, he wants to sit and draw, and then he decides to draw something very, very small in the corner. So it means that he doesn't feel comfortable to use the whole space, that maybe he feels very small, Maybe he feels that the space is too big for him and he needs to be small. I tell you why I see it a lot. I used to work with a child that he's got a younger brother. His brother just born, and the brother was very uncomfortable, crying a lot. And I start to see that the child was 4 years old. He starts to draw smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And I ask, what's going on? Why are you trying to change? And it's become so small. And he said, no, my brother is crying all the time. I can't stand it anymore. I
so
want
the
to be
brother
small.
became smaller.
Yes, he wants it to be smaller, to be like the brother, and he felt that the brother take the whole space.
Oh wow, okay. So who did he make smaller, himself or the brother?
You remember, it's always a picture of his inner world. The drawing is a picture of his inner world. So he started to feel smaller and smaller and smaller because the mother was busy with his brother, because the brother was crying and take the whole space of the house by crying. So he himself started to feel smaller and smaller and smaller.
Wow.
So, and these things that he cannot speak. A child cannot understand this level and talk about it. The only thing that I can look in the picture and ask questions. And then as just one important tip for the parents. When you ask your child something about your drawing and you ask the right question, you will see it in the child's eyes. It's like when everything fall down, you know, like in the casino, when you got the, so it's all come down and you see it in your child's eyes. Because if the child, for example, feel very happy and you ask, what's going on in your drawing? I think you're angry. And the child will say, no, I don't want to talk about it. It means that you're not there. This is not what he meant. So you need to ask and listen and to make it as accurate as you can.
What about adults?
Okay, so with adults, again, it's they still express the inner word, but there's different issue. If I see that adults go to a very familiar symbols, like a heart, flowers, I can understand that there is an issue. The parent is very defensive. He's working with his mind, not with his heart. So I can say, what's going on? You don't want to become open. I see that the symbols are very familiar. You paint, you draw them again and again and again. So what I tell you, what I will do with this kind of client, I will bring a totally new material, something that he never tried before. Even finger paint for an adult.
Oh wow!
Because he need to start and connect to his inner words from the beginning. Do finger paint. Go to a place that you never met before. And from different experience, you know that when the clients start to work and then I change, I tell, let's do something else now. You start and do one thing, and then in the middle, I said, stop. Now we're changing. We can change. I can draw and the client can draw and then we can change. Or I can say, okay, now let's turn the page upside down and let's look at the picture for another perspective. Then they can start to feel open. I need to help them to feel more free, more confident, and more open.
So we're coming back to your point about the more unfamiliar it is, the easier you can express what's going on inside, because you don't know what you're doing.
You don't know what you're doing, and you're not using your brain or mind or criticism or, oh my God, if my mother will see this picture, if my husband will see this picture, what's going on? So you can feel more free, and this is what we want.
And tell me, typically, how many sessions of art therapy do people need before you feel like you are making a difference? I know each case is different, but even then, you know, some people say at least 3, at least 5, at least 10.
It's very difficult to say. I think is when you're going to a psychologist, I mean, you never know what will come up. You start the session or you start the communication. First of all, it takes sometimes to build trust. So I come, the client meets me, but he doesn't trust me immediately. It takes sometimes until we can communicate and until he trusts me. And I think it's depend about the issue. It depends what I tell you what, with children, I usually work for around 6 months to 1 year with children. Children are very quick to do changes. So 6 months to 1 year, unless the one specific issue. If I got a phone call and I got many, a phone call from a mother to tell me, listen, when I used to live in London, we are leaving London and we need to go to another destination.
Right.
I need you to help my child to say goodbye. I need like 4 to 5 sessions of separation, goodbye, just to wrap the whole experience in a good way, so he can say goodbye to one place and start in a different place. So we can say this will be like 5 sessions.
Okay.
5, 6, it depends. But if there's a bigger issue and the child need to build trust and to build self-confidence and to learn how to behave with his peers and at school, so it can take longer. I don't have any magic.
Do you also work with grown-up adult children or grown-up relationships? So husband, wife, grown-up mothers and kids?
Yes, I do. Usually the grown-up are not very happy to have session with the mother. It's an unusual, and if the grown-up will agree to have a session with the mother, but I had some experience with mother and child in different ages, and it was amazing, because I think it's always a good opportunity to work on the relationship. And I think, again, with art therapy, it feels more safe. It's not like you say this and the child says something else and you start kind of fight.
Not talking to each other.
Yes,
and
not talking, just
each other,
doing the art together. And I usually give the theme or the idea, what I would like them to do. And then we sit together and we look at, and when you look at the picture, it's make everything safer, because you have image, and the image is like container. So you can speak about the relationship, but connect to the image, and you put in the image whatever you feel.
You know that we are looking to empower people with health and wellness. With that in mind, can you give everyone one piece of advice?
To keep connect to their creativity. I think it's very important. I think in certain age in life, when we are tired, busy with work, life, everything, we forgot that creativity can change a lot. Creativity can make a big change. And I want a quote of a small quote that I prepare for you, and I would like to say to everybody.
Yes.
To practice any art, no matter how well or badly, is a way to make your soul grow. So just do it.
You know how a lot of kids have sort of trouble when they're sleeping? And, some children have nightmares, some children wake up a lot at night. Is that something you can help them with?
I think I can. Again, it depends, but usually I can, because if the child express himself before he goes to bed and during the session or in the afternoon time, so he take out, as we said, the inner world, whatever comes up, if he's worried or he has some scared. I had a girl that I worked with her for a few months about a monster, that she was so afraid of the monster. It wasn't just at night, it was also during the day. But the breakthrough was when she was able to do the monster from clay. And she put the monster next to her. And the monster was very cute, because we did it with clay. It took for a while that she was able to do it. We did it with clay. And after a while, we painted, and she decided to paint it in green and yellow. And she became a friend with the monster.
Oh, wow.
And when the big fright monster came, she said, I have my monster. You can't do anything to me.
Oh, my God.
It was amazing process. But she was able to create her own monster. And when she created her own monster, she felt safe.
If you have something that's physically bothering you, right? Like a ache or a pain, whether it's a child or an adult, is that something you've ever helped with?
I only had experience with a child that was handicapped. I can't say that art therapy can change pain or can do something. It's not physical. But I think if you feel proud with yourself, that you create something, and if you can do, after a process, a self-portrait, that you can look at yourself and say, this is me, this is who I am, this is the picture. It is what it is. This is what I can show to the world. This is what I can give to the world. I think it can make a big difference about the way you look at yourself. And I think this is what is important.
Okay, that's lovely. I really enjoyed that chat. Thank you for listening to this chat. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to this page. Please subscribe to our podcast on Apple and Spotify, Wellness Curated, and follow us on Instagram, Wellness Curated, the number 1. Thank you.